As much as everybody complains about the blue screen of death,
Blue screen of death?
whenever a Windows machine locks up,
Oh, yes, the
you
blue
get
screen
you
of
get
death.
the random hexadecimal code that says, "Oh, something happened in section OFE33CCC."
Right.
It's like, okay, what does that mean?
Do I send a letter to Microsoft or
The-
leave it be?
The plus is you can actually contact Microsoft and ask them what that means.
Really?
When a Macintosh system crashes, it simply stops responding, and you have no idea what happened. And I don't like that
Maybe.
about it.
I haven't had...
I'm sure they probably addressed that with the newer systems, but when I first got into
Excellent.
computers, there was a big issue where you're working on some project and all of a sudden the system locks up and you haven't saved it yet, of course. And
a lot of
instead of knowing what's wrong with it,
Mm-hmm.
so you can not turn that particular program on again at the same time with what you're working with, the Macintosh system simply locks up, you have to reboot it. Whereas the Windows one, usually a certain program stops responding.
Sorry.
That's okay. And while the Windows systems may be more unstable, you at least know what's causing the instability without a lot of troubleshooting. In my experience, it tends to be easier to track down what's causing the problem. With the Macintosh, you just have to figure out what the new thing is that's not playing nice with others is. With
Yeah.
Windows, you have a bit more interface with the actual operating system, I think.
Is this really loud for you?
Yeah.
Good. I think you're right. The only catch is that you do kind of have to go through the process of making sense of all that.
Yes.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
have to truly understand your operating system
Yeah.
instead of using the plug and play, which
Correct.
honestly, that does compromise a bit of the creative process at times.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, part of why a lot of people prefer Macs. You simply plug it in and start going as soon as you have an idea.
It's
You
true.
don't have to open up 12 different files and,
Yeah. That's why I did.
set up things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, to me, reliability takes precedence over,
I can appreciate that. I
over
can.
that at times.
And compatibility, there's no question. If you like games on the computer, you do not get, at this point, a Mac. You don't.
Yeah.
You get a PC. There's just no question about it.
Yeah.
And that totally, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Which is funny because all the graphic processing power they put in the Macs would make them great gaming machines if they just make them a bit more compatible with Windows for gaming.
Have you noticed they've started doing that?
They've started.
They've started,
But at the same time, they're not going to catch that market back because they've let it slide too much, I don't think.
perhaps. A lot of it, I think, has to do with the kind of market that people can play to, because people will start putting games on something if you can sell the games.
Yeah.
And so that's why the PS3 is suffering right now, of course, because you have, a machine that could really do a lot of stuff without a fan base, because right now everyone's like $600, and they dropped it $200 within its first year.
But the other problem is, the PS3 has some games that look very, very nice,
Yeah.
but they had so many problems at the beginning, and for that matter, were so cocky about the fact that they weren't going to have problems at the beginning and
Yeah.
told everybody so.
Yeah. Criticize the other
They
guy who
essentially
was already
pulled
on the market.
The classic Sega move where we're the most awesome system ever, you cannot touch us, and then
Cocky
failed,
will get you
failed
nowhere.
to deliver.
Yeah, cocky will get you nowhere. It
Yeah.
really won't.
And frankly, I think the biggest problem that Sony has currently...
Hello, hello. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, it's there. I can still hear it.
Your
from
hearing is so much better than mine.
you. Which is odd, because I've been playing in bands for 10 years.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Who knows? But to me, the biggest problem Sony has right now is whenever they launch a new system, they try to push a new media type.
Yeah,
with the PSP, it was the
yeah, it
UMDs.
was
With
really
the
big on
PS3, it's the
proprietary stuff.
Blu-ray.
And they're like that in their cameras too. I've checked.
Yeah.
I've checked.
And to me, that's a big problem because if
Mini disc.
mini disc was a big one.
Yeah. Which is a great invention. It was just kind of unnecessary.
The mini disc was good, but when you had CDs that are
For
cheaper,
real, I love CDs. Who doesn't like CDs?
CDs are cheaper and like 3-4 times the size,
Something like that.
and they work on any computer.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where Sony needs to stop trying to reinvent the wheel and just do good things with wheels.
Yeah. I
you
agree.
know?
I agree.
Like-
Good call. They do kind of like keeping things on lock.
Well,
which.
But see, to me, that comes down
know.
to I hate to say it, kind of a corporate greed kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like, the question is it better to have...
Mind share.
Yeah, because, you could get 5 cents off every Blu-ray disc sold, ever.
Yep.
Or you could simply have the company that sponsors sort of the Microsoft is doing now, sponsors just the best movies put out,
Yeah.
and then, of course, has first rights on sequels and everything else. I think Sony's business model is too much into we must control the consumer electronics landscape as opposed to carving out a niche and doing it extremely well.
Yeah.
And I think that whole hand in every pot thing is going to bite them. It already has with the PS3 to some degree.
Yeah.
But I think if they overextend themselves, because with the PS3 they made no profit for a while because they had so much tied up in it.
I don't think they're hitting profit now.
Yeah, and
It took Microsoft like 2 years to break even at all.
yeah, but see, the thing is with Microsoft,
If they've even
they
done
were
that
still
yet.
they were still breaking even as a company on Windows products
Yeah,
and
other
other
stuff.
things.
Definitely.
From what I understand, the original release of the PS3 was something like 45% of the funding of Sony as a company.
As a corp? That's
Yeah.
crazy. It doesn't. It was
because
billions of dollars.
they were tied up in the production of the new chip, they were tied up in
New
the
cathode
Blu-ray
ray
discs,
or-
which Blu-ray
or
from
diode
a physics
or
standpoint
whatever
I
it
still
is.
have issues with, but I'll get into that in a minute.
Which issue? With what?
With Blu-ray from a physics standpoint.
Oh, really?
Because you think about the way people treat their discs.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Like a small scratch will make it so that the red laser
Move.
in your DVD cannot read the thing.
Absolutely. Which is, yeah. I agree.
And for those of you that are having fun with physics out there, red is a much longer wavelength than blue. In fact, it's almost twice the length.
I see.
So that means a track on that disc on a Blu-ray is going to be half the size.
Just more susceptible to.
So
Yeah.
it takes half the size of a scratch to ruin it. But
Right.
then you also think about it. Also, a bit of data is half the size in a track. So it really
Which
takes.
is how they fit so much.
Yeah, it makes it for a great size disc, but
Right.
that means that it only takes 1/4 the size of a scratch on the surface area, or 1/4 the depth,
Yeah.
to make the disc completely unplayable.
That sucks.
And also, blue light bends more than red light does when it goes through a piece of plastic or glass.
Okay.
And so even a smaller scratch will make the blue light
Refract.
bend off axis more, so it can't be read.
Yeah.
So it's really even worse than it
Used games.
sounds. Yeah, so there will be no used
Yeah.
game market for the PS3 except for
Yeah.
impeccable games from collectors,
Yeah. Yeah.
which will help Sony sell a lot of new games, but at the same time, a lot of people will test
lo-
out a system
They'll
based
lose a
on what's
lot on the
available
back end.
used games.
Yeah.
And so it's going to kill the aftermarket side of that system.
Well, and the peripheral sales
Which
and everything. You
obviously
basically
Sony doesn't really
shrink
care
your
about
audience.
that because
Yeah.
Sony is on the initial end.
Yeah.
But a lot of developers build fan bases and whatnot based on old games they have on
Oh, yeah.
systems.
I mean-
that's going to cripple them when it comes to that.